Oh, right, guys. We're going to be discussing Andrew Wilson with that pink hair lady. And, her point of view in illegal immigration. We know that she's kind of crazy. So let's jump in, guys.
I think one of the other disagreements that we had when we were discussing immigration was the question of feasibility. Is it feasible to deport the millions of illegal immigrants that are here? You had objections from an economic perspective. It's going to cost a lot to do that, and you also didn't believe it was feasible. I don't know if you have more to add to that, or Andrew. I mean, do you think that there's...
Yeah, it's totally feasible. Absolutely. We can deploy the United States military right to the border, orders shoot to kill.
But
I would do it right away tomorrow.
Wait, shoot to kill?
Damn!
Yeah.
The illegal
Yo,
immigrants?
you do. This is not me. This is Andrew. I have nothing to do with that.
It's no, if on the border, if they're trying to cross.
Border.
Yeah.
I thought the ones who are currently
No.
Isn't it wrong to kill, though, based in
It's wrong to murder.
religion?
It's wrong to murder.
Is that not murder?
No.
Killing someone's not murder?
No, Andrew has a point here, man. It is technically invasion, so...
Murder definitionally is the unjustified killing of someone.
Okay, so if you can justify it, it's fine.
If you have good justification for it.
Is that subjective? Can I kill anyone and justify it to myself?
Well, I
and then
would
it's fine?
consider justification. Well, I would start with the idea of what justification is.
Okay.
And then with the idea of, is it an objective or subjective justification? But either way, I would be justified. So if you say, well, there is no objective morality, it's only subjective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's relative between people.
Okay.
Then you really can't give me any reason why I shouldn't do that.
So, just example, somebody breaks into your house, you shoot them. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. That's justified. But you're walking down the street, you see a family of illegal immigrants, you don't like it, you shoot them all.
That's not what he was saying.
Hey, that's not...
Okay.
That would be
At the border.
unjustified. Yeah.
At the
If they're
border
trying to
crossing.
cross
Yeah.
illegally.
Yeah, of course you have to go there, right?
Okay.
So if they're trying to break in, just like they're trying to break into your house, I would view it the same way.
Breaking into the country.
Okay.
Because in the macro level makes sense, right? If you put it in the context of macro and then compare it to something that is on micro, it makes sense.
Well, I don't have an argument against that. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So
I understand.
You're in favor of it?
I'm not in favor of
Okay.
it. I just personally wouldn't.
Well, do you think that illegal crossings would significantly go down if the United States military was on the border and said, if you try to cross the border illegally, we open fire? Don't you think that? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, then it sounds like I solved the problem
Okay.
by not using
Damn.
empathy.
They were talking about making a lake or something that they put on a lot of alligators. I don't know about that, but...
All right. Well, then let's put that into play.
I agree. Totally.
I don't know if I haven't even thought of that as a
Kind of extreme, man.
I don't know if that's my position, but I would agree with you insofar as, Andrew, it would be a massive deterrence.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
It would be
Yeah.
massive
Agreed.
deterrence. Okay.
Just
if I
like
cross
nuclear
the border-
bombs.
Right.
Why do
Yeah.
you have nukes? It's not to use them, right?
Deterrence.
It's to stop people from using them. So the
Yeah.
idea isn't actually to send them down there with orders to shoot to kill. The idea is that because they have orders to shoot to kill, they'll never have to.
Okay.
That's the idea.
I mean, if nobody has to die,
Well, we hope. Probably some will.
okay.
Yeah. Probably some.
Well,
will.
I don't think that there is a flat, simple way to fix.
Get the hell out of here. Of course there is, man. It's just... this is why we are in the situation that we are, guys. And because, WOMAN vote. That's what it is, guys. They don't understand how simply you can fix this problem, man. Close the border. Don't allow anybody and deport everybody. That's it. And I will say, I would put the border a little bit more inside the country, and that way you're not crossing to Mexico. I will make a huge hole where people cannot even climb back. 100%, guys. Make it impossible.
Immigration problem. I
Pretty
feel
sure
like
that would fix it.
That's a way, sure. I just I think
don't wanna fix
that would
it.
be really hard to pass.
Yeah, that's
Legally.
true. I think you're correct
So-
that it would be difficult to pass through Congress, an act of Congress which mobilized. But, well, the president's the commander in chief, though. He doesn't. I'm not sure that would be war authorization. So I think he could actually unilaterally just order the military
Didn't he
and
try to
order
do
the
that?
border states to mobilize their National Guard with orders to shoot to kill. I think he actually could do that.
Didn't he try to get the military over there though?
The military's there now. They just don't have orders to shoot to kill,
Right.
Well,
unfortunately.
they could.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
He says, unfortunately. What do you think?
Well,
Is that unfortunate? Do you
I-
think it's unfortunate?
that they can't kill them, I don't think that that's unfortunate. I'm not advocating for the killing of anybody.
Well, it's not an advocation of. It's an advocation to make sure there is no killing. I believe in force doctrine. So the idea of 5'1" men attacking 7 foot tall, 300-pound men doesn't seem that likely to me. It seems like they
Okay.
generally won't do that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it seems like if you're a 7 foot, 300-pound, buff, yoked out dude, you're probably not going to get attacked. And the whole idea behind that is because the person is worried that if they do attack you, what happens? They get messed up real bad, right?
Right. So if this is something that Trump could do, why do you think he hasn't done it?
I just don't think that he would be able to justify it politically.
Yeah.
Okay, why though?
Because I think that there would be an outcry, a general outcry against it, and it could stress his powers.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it could be argued that this. I'm not sure on this, right? But it could possibly be argued as you would need congressional authorization for this because of
Yeah, that
So-
that means that you have to go through Congress to do something like this. I don't think the president will have that authority. I might be wrong here, but I don't think so.
some reason. Possibly they could defund it, or there's any number of different reasons, or there could be some type of humanitarian crisis that it could be presented as that would cause a bunch of problems for him. So there might be a bunch of practical reasons, but I don't think that there's anything morally wrong with taking your army, putting it on your border, and telling people who try to cross that border that there's going to be dire consequences if they do.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's totally reasonable. It's within the confines of reason. It's logical. It seems within force doctrine, it would actually prevent more crossings and it would prevent more deaths ultimately.
Yeah.
The thing about the illegal immigration, you cannot fix it unless there's strong consequences to somebody crossing illegally, and you have to be willing to just have that conversation at least.
Well, I don't have a solution, my own solution when it comes to immigration. I think that topic is far too complicated for me, and I don't know enough about how things work or politics to really come
Okay.
up with
Okay.
a solution. But
I think the only other disagreement we had pertaining to that was that there were flights. They were flying the immigrants in. You thought that this was dubious, that there was no evidence of it. You didn't think this was actually a thing. I don't know if you still think that's the case, but
I still think
there were in fact flights flying
hundreds
in
of thousands.
illegal. And I don't know the precise number, but there were flights.
Have you ever heard of the migrant caravans?
The what now?
Migrant caravans?
I have heard of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's tens of thousands of people whose entire objective was to go through South America and Mexico, collecting as many people as possible in order to break into the country to single point, make a political statement. The Democrats assured them that they would have hotel rooms, that they would be taken care of. They actually had Democrat liaisons who went to South America and would coach these migrant caravan leaders. It was a big clusterfuck, but yeah.
What we were talking about is, I think it was hundreds of thousands of immigrants being flown over into New York.
That's one.
And why would they do that?
Because it switches voting demographics.
But they can't vote.
Well, that's funny that you should mention that, but I'm not going to get into that on YouTube because of the terms of service. But
Yeah, that's
the thing
that's a dangerous territory, but we know.
is they can't work either, but they work, right?
Right. But voting is you need a social.
Not necessarily.
a social work.
Okay, but to sign up to vote though, how do you do that without social?
You take your fake ass social that you got out of. So what happens is, here's what people do: they go to a cemetery, okay, Well, maybe they don't physically go, right? But what they do is they look through obituary records for somebody, like, let's say your name is Javier Juarez, right? And you're roughly 25 years old. And so you go through the obituaries and you find somebody whose name is like, I don't know, Rodrigo something or another, and he's 22, right? And he has roughly the same types of features that you do, right? You can apply, get a death certificate, you get the death certificate, and then you can manipulate that in such a way to get a birth certificate. You take the birth certificate down to the Social Security office, say, I lost my Social Security card. They give you back your Social Security card. Then you go get a normal, real state ID. You have now assumed somebody else's identity.
Are there statistics that show how many people that have passed away have voted in this last election?
It's in the millions.
The problem is, right, is like they wouldn't count them as passed away, because this is an active person who's not dead, right?
But they did die, though.
Yeah, but something that I learned is when somebody passes away, it doesn't go to the system automatically as disease, though.
It died, but that doesn't mean that they've been officially counted, one. And two, when you're talking about the assumed identification, they're also going to be counted as a living person. You can have conflicting records inside of our record keeping, apparatuses, and this happens often. Now, how many there are? Liberals will tell you that there's very few cases like this, but it's very, very difficult to determine how many there actually are of cases like this. Very difficult because they've already assumed the identity. The person is dead.
Okay.
Right? But it happens a lot more when people let on.
Well, it's one of those things. I'm sure it happens, and I'm sure it's happened, but there's no stats on it. There's no way to get stats on it, so it's hard for
What we happens to be that we are basically just giving Social Security toward 3.9 millions that are not even Americans. I mean, this is crazy, bro.
me to.
Though there is a way to get stats on this.
Okay.
That every single year, 1 million legal immigrants come into the United States.
How many illegal immigrants do you think are here?
I think
40?
probably 5 or 6 times the estimate that they say.
Like 40 million?
What do they say the estimate is?
Brian would have to pull it up officially.
It's 11
couple
million.
of million.
11 million.
Yeah.
No. So Mick, in the StreamYard, it's in the actual browser.
It's like 40 million.
Did you see
You know what's
where-
crazy? It had gotten down in where I live. I don't see them that often. But during Biden, bro, in Walmart, bro, I live in Wisconsin, in upstate Wisconsin. Supposed to be majority Caucasian, man. All of a sudden, I see a lot of these illegals, man, you with 3 to 5 cards of food. There used to be a lot. They used to even hang out outside the Walmart. Not anymore, of course, because the immigration ICE has a strong presence here in Wisconsin, guys. There's a lot of Wisconsin. There's a lot of stuff going on in Wisconsin. Let's put it that way. Let me see. It says here, documents revealed the airports used by Secretary Mayorkas to fly hundreds of thousands of inadmissible aliens into the United States via Chinese visa mass parole scheme. This is crazy.
how many illegal immigrants are in the country, but this is from homeland.house.gov. So this is Department of Homeland Security, I believe. This is their source. Hold on one sec, guys. I'm multitasking a dozen different things here. So, Mick, I'm going to have you scroll down just a little bit. New documents reveal airports used by Secretary Mayorkas to fly hundreds of thousands of inadmissible aliens into U.S. via CHNV mass parole scheme. Scroll down.
What's CHNV mean?
Scroll down. Washington, D.C. Today, the House Committee on Homeland Security revealed documents obtained through subpoena of the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, that identified over 50 airport locations, including our nation's capital, used by DHS to help process into the country more than 400,000 inadmissible aliens through the administration's unlawful Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguan, and Venezuelan mass parole program. The program was officially launched in January 2023, and the documents obtained by the committee cover the period from January to August, accounting for roughly 200,000 of these.
And if you're pro-migration, why you're not pro-migration with people from European descent? Why we're not looking for pro immigration from European countries? It has to be for third world countries. It just doesn't make sense, guys.
Individuals, according to these documents, as of mid-October 2023, there were 1.6 million inadmissible aliens awaiting travel authorizations through this program. Scroll down quite a bit more.
That's crazy, bro. Look at that.
Port of entry between
Look at that, bro. Golly, man.
January, August 2023 were Miami.
Let's see what you have to say.
Right, where most of the ballots were mail-in.
Right.
And the mail-in ballot system is like the worst fucking idea ever conceived by man because the proofs there were very slight to have those votes counted. So having thousands of unsecured ballot locations, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can definitely participate in the political process whether they are supposed to or not.
Okay.
And by the time that you verify whether or not this helping bad happened, it's too late. It's almost like 3 years down the line. It's ridiculous. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you next one.